My name is Michael Shaver, and God has called my family and I to be missionaries in Iceland. As a child, I went to a church and it was very missions-minded. That's really where God began to initiate a desire for missions and a love for missions. I even surrendered to missions at that time. Looking back, I don't think I was fully called, but I do think God was preparing me. So I graduated college shortly after I married my wife, and we were faithful in ministries, and God began to burden me again for missions through several messages that the pastor had preached. And I began seeking God's face. Okay, Lord, what is it that you have for me? What are you trying to tell me? It took me about 6 months, but I realized God was moving us into missions. So my cousin Nate was called to missions, and he surrendered to Iceland. And during that time, I didn't know he was praying about it, but I had kind of heard he was praying about it. And that's around the time when God began to put missions on my heart as well. We began talking about missions, and I told him, God's put on my heart to work with you in Iceland. He said, I've been praying for a partner, Michael. When we go to Iceland, our burden is to plant churches. We want to see people saved. We want to disciple them. We want to build a biblical church. Iceland is considered to be more developed than the United States is. They have a lot more things accessible to every person in Iceland than, say, the United States would. But I think because of that, it has hardened their heart, and so they walk around thinking that they're fine, and in truth, they need the gospel. I'm not 100% sure if God is sending me there to see great revival, although I hope so. And I fully believe that He is, and I expect Him to do so. Whether or not that happens, He has called us to reveal who He is to these people. And He has not forsaken the islands and the far-reaching places of the world. And I believe that's where He wants us to go. My family is just as much a part of this call as I am, and I fully expect God to use them over there as well. I know that each person in my family has been uniquely gifted by God to do something for Him. I'm excited to see what things God is going to use them to do, just as much as I'm excited to see what God's going to use me for. When I come to the end of serving God in Iceland, or wherever it is that He has for me, when I come to the end of that, I want people to know that I was faithful to the Lord through the whole time. And I would want to stand before God and for Him to be pleased with what I've done. Even though it's a hard field, I know that God is going to unite our family and bring us through to bring glory to Him and the gospel to the people of Iceland.